Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to LSR here on a beautiful, albeit cold, Sunday afternoon for me. Just like Formula One in real life, LSR here is opening up our new Season 10 here at Albert Park. So should be a good one, as we can see Eric checking in, but full 20 cars on the grid. Sorry for the stream getting up a little bit late as Viperize getting underway with the start of the lap, but we'll be able to jump right on board with the Haas drivers. Well, you can see the Red Bull in the background, but you got this very fast turn 1 and 2. Really only want to drop down to about 5th or 6th gear, carry as much speed as possible as you blast down into turn 3. Hard on the brakes as the DRS closes is into this pretty technical section here. But again, once you get on the power, now it's, trusting that car, downforce, keep it flat to the floor as possible. Quick dab on the brakes here, downshift a gear, and right back out onto the power as you run now through these couple of corners and blast down into turns number 10 and 11. Of course, Albert Park's famous high-speed chicane here, as Viperize 44-3 through 2 sectors. Manages that chicane very nicely. Again, DRS reopens. Hard braking as you make your way into the proper, part of Sector 3. Slowest portion of the circuit. Got turn 12, which is a solid overtaking spot. Going to be side by side here through 13, 14, and out of 15. But here comes Viperize around the final corner. DRS going to open up. What's the bar going to be set at for everybody to chase? It'll be a 1:16.7 set by Viperize. There's a Red Bull coming in behind as well. That's going to be Zroski, 17.0 from him. As Hucky goes top 16.5. Formula Scythe then with a 16.4, potentially getting a little bit of tow off the Ferrari out in front. As already lap time starting to fall a little bit. Ollie Jelly kind of off the track there. LAF on the board with a 17.1. Stratton comes to line. That would have been a 19.5, but an invalidation from the Dutchman. But again, welcome to Season 10. You're going to see a lot of familiar faces here. Of course, you do have reigning champion Kendricks on the a part of the field. Of course, and that's largely due to just how competitive all of our groups have become. Specifically in Group 1 and Group 2, and I'm sure we'll see some good battles as the full part of Group 3 gets underway. Again, still sticking on board here with Stratting. A couple other times should be popping up on the board now. Got a Sauber come to line. That's, I believe, Masquerade just starting a lap. I believe one of the Williams cars as well just starting a lap. Stratting 44.307, so I believe faster than Viperize through 2 sectors. Talked Phoenix goes third quickest. Again, you got Ollie Jelly just trying to stay out of the way of all the cars out in front. Here comes Stratting as he makes his way through Sector 3. The multiple-time pole sitter just about manages to get out of the way of Ollie. But Stratting now through the final corner. Can he fight for another pole and potentially try and take that pace a bit further? He'll come to line. Only a 16.944 from him. So about half a second off the pace on a first go is the Red Bull of Stratting. So potentially a lot more pace to try and find. Viperize and Stratting were 2 of the drivers that battled for a lot of the poles last season. We'll see if that changes. Of course, I believe Stratting is washed. No, I think it just kind of goes to show how competitive the circuit is. Group 2, I think between the top 15 had a pack spread of about 1.2 seconds. But even still, kind of despite that kind of difference in pace, Albert Park is going to be a circuit where it's going to be very difficult to pull away as Masquerade goes 5th quickest, 1,000th of a second faster than Stratting. Formula Jonah, 9th quickest for Alpine. Of course, Alpine going to be looking to repeat as they had a dominant showing taking Season 9's Constructors' Championship, as well as having the top 2 Drivers' Championship finishers. Of course, there are a couple of drivers there. Actually, that McLaren, I believe, was either Seau or Formula Saif. I'm gonna have to apologize for that. I'm used to that being Ali Jelly and Viperize in the Papaya machine. Ali Jelly, of course, is serving a qualifying ban in this round for kind of some actions and decisions that he took in our final round at Abu Dhabi. So we do have a little bit of a penalty carryover there. Dachal, I think one of the few drivers right now out on the lap making his way through turn number 12 in that Aston Martin, as he's now into the final sector. Of course, LSR here is opening in Australia, though it should be hopefully a bit more of a straightforward race than the real-life Australian Grand Prix. 17.266 for Dachal slots him into the top 10. But certainly was an interesting race. Sadly, I was not able to witness it because I was a little bit intoxicated, which, if my energy is a little bit lower in this one, hopefully it'll be allowed. More than a little bit hungover. And also, short a couple of things. Ollie Jelly, of course, is on kind of a second lap right now. He will have to dive into the pits, though. Lexus Beast on an out lap. Bacon becoming Hispanic confirmed. So, no, that's just me celebrating Irish heritage. Because I'm Irish, I'm German, Irish, and English. I don't tan, and I like beer. Or in this case, alcohol, and lots of. Formula Saif, though, will stick on board with as he comes across this first sector timing marker. He's actually up about a tenth and a half, getting a little bit of a tow off of that Mercedes in front, which is Guardian Knight, actually, who is giving him that tow. Of course, in that run down to 10 and 11 now. Guardian's got some solid pace going as well. Formula Saif up like 3/4 of a second right now. So this might be cause for promotion for Saif. He actually might get held up here a little bit by Guardian Knight, who is on a lap. But yeah, both drivers on a lap, and so now Formula Saif having to back off, and this could be well clear for a pole lap for the McLaren man. As here he comes, DRS open to the line. It's going to be a 15.827, so 6/10 clear now for Formula Saif, who again very well may be jumping up the board. It was actually, apologies, it was actually Talked Phoenix giving him that tow. Phoenix as well, going third quickest, 16.510. Hucky, not to be confused with any of our Huskies that have been through. This is just Huki. Sits in fourth currently for Ferrari. Again, Masquerade in there in seventh. It's Owen into 10th. Guardian Knight in Isha jumps up into P6. So a solid showing there. Stratting, meanwhile, through the first sector, finding 2/10. So some pace there. And I guess something as well to note about Australia is that because it's so high speed through a lot of these sections, just a little wiggle can really throw you off course. Mark Kenny, do a lap, I guess. I can't, as of right now, being a commentator. But yeah, Stratting making his way now into the final sector of the racetrack. Is up a little bit. It is going to have to manage a little bit of traffic, though. McLaren in the way. Williams checks up, and there's contact there. The Williams of, who was that, Strakasaur, fails to get out of the way. And Stratting very upset there. Stratting gets damage and is going to have a 5-place grid penalty for that. That's certainly going to be discussed later. As yet, I think just, Strakasaur in a place where he may just not have known where to go. And so at Strakasaur, yeah, I'm not entirely sure what happened there. But tons of traffic there in that final sector. Either Seau or Formula Saif was in the way as well. But that is certainly going to be a ticket and a steward report. Hucky, meanwhile, second quickest now, 16.1. If you'll just allow me a second, I am going to check as well. What was the pole time from yesterday. You might hear the pole time from yesterday's Group 1 race was in the 15s, I believe. Just trying to check it here. What was the event? The pole time was a 15-1, so that's a great lap from Formula Scythe. Mark Kenny going to unlock his inner Stroll, so I'm assuming that's either LAF or Dachal in chat there. But yeah, again, going to be interesting to see as we roll to about 6 minutes to go in qualifying. Viperize has jumped up into P6. So 16.616 from him. Oh, Kendricks. Okay, gotcha. That's it. You said Stroll, and I was like, oh yeah, it's probably one of the Aston Martins. But yeah, Kendricks is there in 18th. Ollie Jelly, of course, will be starting from the back of the field. Speedy Gunner on an outlap, but has invalidated in that bright green Sauber. Because we have the B-Carbs there on the brink of the top 10. And Alexis diving into the pits there. Let's see, is there anybody on a proper go lap? Of course, Strakosaur is on a lap right now. Debo Croc down in his Sayal about matching his time through the first corner. Air too fast for you. Very busy last corner there. Yeah, I noticed that as well. And that may have led to some of the confusion for Strakosaur. There are a couple very busy portions of this racetrack. Sayal a little bit wide there through on the exit of turn number 11. Very unusual in G2. Yes, but at the same time, just kind of the way Australia is set up, if you do get a couple of cars stack up, then it could be, that is a very real possibility. Especially pit lane exit as well. Here comes Sayal out of the final corner. Was he able to pull out any magic in Sector 3? He'll pick up 6/10, so a much more representative lap time for the McLaren man, but only good enough for 13th. And not a lot of cars out on track right now. Speedy Gunner on a bit of a lap right now. Very neat there on the exit of turn number 11, keeping it very tight to the inside. As he comes into the tight, twisty section. Perhaps actually going to take to the grass there. Really aggressive to that inside curb. Of course, got to get the exit as good as possible. Again, Speedy Gunner going after all of those curbs. Gonna maybe lose him a little bit more time, though. That lap time only good enough for 16th, 1:18.0. Zroski, meanwhile, picked up 3/10 on his last lap. Seems to be on a bit of a recharge here. He's down a little bit over a second. Topped Phoenix up 2/10 through 2 sectors. He's going to come out of the final corner into the line, and he'll jump up ahead of Zorowski. So Topped Phoenix third quickest. So very good from him as well. Gabicho up there in 5th. And Topped Phoenix actually going to retire from the session here. He does not believe he'll improve. So that'll be the end of qualifying for the Mercedes. Of course, it is just one qualifying session here. We will, similar to last season, have 2 rounds that will have full qualifying, as well as 2 sprint races. Just going to give you a preview of that. But your Viperize is 19th in the speed trap. That speed trap is a bit of a lie. Or actually, I would say that's a lie, Viperize, but if you have a teammate checking it, that would not be the case. But yeah, I feel like that speed trap is a little bit of a lie, as a number of drivers are looking to start to pile out of the pit lane, get ready for their final push laps here in qualifying. Zarski, meanwhile, is on a lap, so he might have to manage a little bit of traffic. Let's see what he's at through Sector 1. He's down about a 10th. And of course, you got to really chuck that car there into Turn 6, carry as much speed as possible, and you need to keep it really tight here. As Ollie Jelly, of course, gonna retire. He will be starting from the tail of the field. But yeah, Zarowski, one of the few drivers on a lap. That's a purple pop-up in the middle sector. But he's only up about a 10th, which means he did pick up about 2/10 in that middle sector. So a very good lap time from him. And the Red Bull certainly looking very fast. And of course, got to slow it right down here as we get into Sector 3. Not looking to beat any traffic up ahead. Again, really utilizing all the track. A little bit of a lockup there into the penultimate corner. Got to get the power down very comfortably out of the final corner. And Zurowski power down to the line. DRS wide open. And it's not going to be an improvement from Zurowski, and that'll probably be the end of his qualifying. He'll have a chance at a recharge lap, but 16.2 means he currently still sits at 4th. Gabicho 5th, Huki on a lap. Formula Saif getting underway as well. Isha underway. So we'll jump to the Mercedes as he gets to Sector 2. Chris currently sits in P8. Maybe just taking a second recharge, or a second lap to get those tires into the right window, though, because he is not up on his first lap. Gabicho, meanwhile, has invalidated, so he will have to recharge. And, of course, all of the drivers here going to be making sure they have enough in the tank for a final push lap. We'll stick with Dechal, who currently sits in 7th. Viperize getting underway. We'll stick on board with Dechal, who is down through Sector 1, so he's not improving. Formula Saif has invalidated, so he won't improve. We're jumping on board with Huki, though, who doesn't seem to be on a full push. So the Ferrari gonna have another shot at stealing pole. Zurowski might not have the time to get back around, or Zurowski doesn't have the fuel to get back around. So the Red Bull is gonna try to push to get there. Gabicho on a push. All of our drivers really trying to push to find a lap in these final moments of qualifying. I believe LAF should be the first to cross the line, and that is qualifying. So the first one to cross the line will be LAF. Yuki has retired, so he will not improve from second. LAF jumps up to 6th quickest. There's a McLaren coming up behind him. That is Formula Saif, who will not improve from that 15.8. Here comes the V-Carb of Owen to the line. He'll jump all the way up into 5th, so a stellar lap there. Canada's teammate of Alexis B's joining him. It's one of the Hasses to the line. That's Viperize, who will go 5th quickest. Again, just trying to figure out who all is coming to the line and in what order. I believe that's Strakasaur. Will only start 16th. That's Stratting, who jumps all the way up into P2. That's a stellar lap from the Red Bull, finding a second of lap time. He will, of course, drop down into 7th. Gabicho now out of the final corner to the line. Alexis Beast goes 10th. Gabicho goes 6th. Can anybody else find a little bit of time? Guardian Knights has invalidated. Seau up about a quarter of a second. Can he find anything? Potentially try and give himself a starting position in the points. Seau to the line. He will not improve from 15th. Jonah has invalidated, though. Strakasaur's qualifying is done. Here comes Kendricks out of the final corner of the line, and the reigning Group 2 champion will only start 16th. So not a great lap there from him. Speedy Gunner as well on a bit of a slow lap in, but it's going to be Formula Saif on pole. It'll be Huki still on the second row, and it'll be Tucked Phoenix, Zurowski, Gabicho, Viperize, and then Stratting, followed by Owen, LAF, Alexis Beast, Dechal, Masquerade, Isha or Guardian Knight, Devo, Seau, Kendricks, and Jonah. But like we saw a couple of times last season, it's McLaren on pole once again in LSR. So we're keeping up that trend from yesterday. We'll see if the Frenchman can put it together, but 2/10 clear is very comfortable. And again, it's a pretty tight pack spread. Very similar to what we saw in Group 1 yesterday, down to 14th, only about 1.2 seconds in it, and a number of quick drivers further down the field. Kendricks and Formula Jonah last season had a lot of instances where they just found their ways through the field. Ollie Jelly has loads of pace. Guardian Knight was a race winner last season, and there's a number of drivers here who could all get things done. Of course, we will have a 2-minute break, which allows me to kind of talk strategy a little bit. So strategy definitely going to be a very important thing here. But yeah, sorry, I lost my train of... Sorry, my brain had a processing error there. Apologies. But yeah, strategy. You're probably going to want to stay off of the soft tire here, just kind of due to how much tire wear is important here. you're going to want a tire that kind of lasts for a while, because the softs will be quick, but only for about 5 laps will they be the best tire. So unless you took the tire allocation that gives you that extra soft set, definitely something of concern there where, hey, I don't think the soft tires are the best way to go. The hards are a surprisingly good tire. You're obviously going to lose some time there, but they hold pace really, really nicely. And, you're not going to overheat too much. I think the main thing to consider here is that getting damage here is a bit of a death sentence. Just like one little mistake yesterday from myself, brief kick of oversteer, quick snap that led me to just kind of tapping the wall ever so slightly, getting that little bit of damage, dropped all of my pace. So DRS, very important. Keeping your car safe for the entire lap, also very important. So keep those things in mind. And of course, the run down to turn 3 can also be very chaotic, because it's a pretty fast turn 1, 2, but it's really hard to go side by side through that section as well. So you got to keep an eye on the entirety of the field as we run into that portion of the circuit. Yeah, hopefully the caffeine is kicking in, because I am feeling last night. About as no, that wasn't a good joke. We'll keep that one in the drafts. But of course, just waiting for everything to light up. Again, the goal for all these drivers is to have a better race than Isaac Hadjar did yesterday. Though it does seem like the countdown has begun. So again, just waiting for everybody to get those strategies set. And there we are on the grid. 3, 4, and 5 lights. And we're underway here for Season 10 in LSR Group 2. And it's a good getaway from Formula Scythe, who's going to comfortably hold on to that lead into Turn 1. Talked Phoenix jumps up into 3rd as they battle side by side. A bunch of drivers scrambling there in the background as they make their way through. But everyone seems to be through Turn 1 okay. And we'll blast down in Turn 3. There's a Haas of Viperize looking to the inside of Zdrusky with a nice move. Going to push him wide and actually going to get connected a little bit, and there seemed to be a little bit of damage from a car. There's an Aston Martin round and into the wall. That's LAF, I think, getting a little bit too happy on the power. There's a Sauber round. I think that was a connection with one of the Alpine. Actually, no, that was Owen who had the collision there with the kick Sauber of Masquerade, and that's going to bring out an immediate virtual safety car due to some of the damage that is built up on the circuit. LAF as well, getting 10 seconds for making contact with Debo Croc, as I believe it was just drivers checking up there, leading to that penalty. But an immediate virtual safety car in this one. We'll taking a quick look at the tires. I said that the softs might not be the way to go, but Kendricks and Strakasaur being bold, opting for the patented Kendrick strat, which we can expect is going to be that soft to hard strategy. So keep an eye on that. The Red Bulls, Ozrowski and Stratting running very nicely in 6th and 7th. The Alexis Beast in that V-Carb. Kendricks all the way up into 9th. Of course, definitely, seemed to be a beneficiary of a little bit of contact, a little bit of damage in that one. But I think he'll absolutely take it as we got 4 drivers all diving into the pits here. Here. As again, still under virtual safety car here on lap number 2. From the Scythe, able to use those mediums to get a much better jump off the grid. But of course, racing negated here. As again, still under VSC. Now we're back to green. Nobody getting drive-throughs, everybody respecting the Delta, and it's a good jump there for Formula Scythe, who holds that 6th, 10th advantage. DRS, of course, is going to be activated. Viperize there in 5th, going to be a part of this chase pack, trying to chase down those top 4 drivers. He will have DRS. Apologies. It looked like he would not have it for a second. So Viperize will keep within touching distance, but Huki closing in on the McLaren in front. Formula Scythe, though, seemingly carrying a little bit more downforce, but not a great exit there. Here comes Yuki. He's going to take a peek to the inside, but tucked back in as they make their way into the slower final sector. Tucked Phoenix, of course, is right there. You got the Red Bulls, Stratton and Zdrowski battling there in the background. Stratton gains a spot, and at the cost of his teammate, though, as Alexis Beast is also able to slot ahead of Zdrowski. Ollie Jelly as well, all the way up into 10th already, and that's on a hard compounded tire, as that fast lap, of course, going to fall very quickly. Viperize may have made a bit of a mistake there, as he's fallen well off the front cars. So already got a little bit of pack racing going on, and by pack racing, it's, you know, just kind of those individual packs. Oh, and 3 seconds for track limits. Just track limits certainly going to be something to consider. Very easy through a number of sections to just dip all 4 tires off of the racing surface and get a warning. Specifically here at turn 6, you go outside of those yellow lines. It's very easy to invalidate. Turns 10 and 11, both on entry and exit to that section, very easy to pick up some warnings. Turn 1 and 2, very easy to pick up warnings there. And we got to go through all of those corners 29 times. But here on this one, Formula Scythe really attacking that. Good run through there. Opens that gap up to about 3/10. But here comes the Ferrari Yuki. Going to take a look to the inside. Formula Scythe going to give him a bit of a squeeze. And able to hold on to the lead here on lap number 3. Alexis Beast, meanwhile, looking to charge up the field. He's gotten past both Red Bulls now, and is now putting Viperize under pressure. There will be a very nice looking white machine in next year's game. Gonna have DRS advantage here. Of course, you can see the leaders just out in front. Here comes Alexis Beast in his return to Group 2. Of course, one-time teammate to yours truly. Gonna have DRS once again in the run down into turn number 3. Viperize gonna have to get defensive here. Here comes Alexis Beast looking around the outside. Is he gonna be braver on the brakes though? Now it's gonna be giving Viperize the squeeze, and Alexis Beast with a nice move there around the outside. He'll jump up into P5. Viperize though looking to get that move back done as they run to turn 6, but not able to get it done. Here comes Zdrowski looking for a move. That's a bold old move, as Viperize just not able to get a really good run. Just seems to be running loads of downforce on that Haas and falls victim there. He's fallen back now into 7th, and I'll have to tuck back into this train as they go chasing after the leaders. Formula Scythe now still holding on to the lead on lap number 4. Big wiggle there. Here comes the Ferrari Yuki, very close to the back of him. Formula Scythe gonna go defensive, gonna try and take the racing line there. The Ferrari looking down the inside. They're gonna go side by side here into turn number 12. Formula Scythe a little bit wide there, still manages to hold on to the lead though, but already seeming to struggle a little bit on those medium tires, and Yuki seems to really want to get past this McLaren and take the lead here. We'll run down into turns 1 and 2 once again. Does the Ferrari have the straight line speed to get it done? No, it seems that it'll try to hold off a little bit. As again, closing up very close here through 1 and 2. But again, it's not a great exit there. That McLaren seemingly running just enough downforce to be brave enough through these corners. Here comes the McLaren, or the Mercedes of Tox Phoenix looking to the inside. Yuki able to defend from him as we get a big fight for the lead now. And of course, this is going to be exactly what the likes of Alexis Beast, Zdrowski, Viperize, Stratton, Kendricks, Ollie Jelly all want to be seeing, as this allows them to inch closer and closer to the pack up in front. You can see that V-carb there in the background making his way through turn 6. DRS, though, going to open up once again on the Ferrari of Yuki. Going to be right on the gearbox. Are we going to see side-by-side through 10-11? We will just about. The Ferrari, though, backs out. Looks to get aggressive there on the exit, though, trying to carry all of the speed. The McLaren, though, out of ERS, he could be in trouble. Yuki, that's Formula Scythe, though, going with the defensive line. They'll go side-by-side again into turn 12. And again, Formula Scythe sticks it around the outside and holds on to the lead. Into the penultimate corner now. And Yuki, I think, getting really impatient, just perhaps getting a little bit frustrated that Formula Scythe has somehow managed to keep him behind, as now the top 10 all in a train together. You can see the Ferrari of Ollie Jelly in the background there, making his way past Kendricks. And Strakasaur already going to dive into the pits here on as we start lap number 6. As once again for the lead, it's going to be the inside this time for Yuki. But once again, Formula Scythe just doing everything he can to keep that car behind. just carrying so much more speed through those corners, so much more downforce, and now it's going to be the Ferrari looking to get that move done in the run into turn 6. Again, going to try to tuck back in, but talked Phoenix very close and had to back out. It's a wonder there wasn't a massive incident there. But again, look at how tight this pack is. Talked Phoenix looking to find a way past Huki now. They're going to go side by side. It might be a side-by-side battle into 10-11. We're going to go side by side, and it's going to be Huki now taking the lead here, as carried loads of speed there into turns 10-11 and takes the lead finally here on lap number 6, and of course gets a second dose of DRS. Talked Phoenix getting past the McLaren as well, so he'll be up in a second, and we have a new battle for the lead. It's two hard tire leaders. Two hard tire leaders. Huki, though, picking up 3 seconds due to track limits there. Bit of a drift there from Talked Phoenix. Is a bit of rear lock, potentially, as he goes sliding through the penultimate corner through turn 14, but still manages to hold on to second and keep all of those other drivers behind him. Ollie Jelly falling off of this pack a little bit. He might be at risk of falling off the pack. Formula Scythe going to start to become more and more at risk, as he seems to be running low on ERS from that red light flashing at the tail of his machine. Once again, we have a new leader. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for the Mercedes of Guardian Knight. But he has managed to rejoin the track safely. Dechal and Seau battling as well. But we'll stick with this chain of 8 cars now for the lead. And of course, if you likes of Formula Scythe, Gabby Jozruski, Alexis Viperize, and Stratting, you're still in a decent spot right now because those hards are going to continue to grow stronger. So if you can manage to get the undercut here, on your 2 leaders, that could be very, very powerful as this race continues. But Huki showing a lot of pace there through 10 and 11. The Mercedes closing, not able to get it done. But there's the McLaren of Formula Scythe looking to the inside of Talked Phoenix. And this time it's Formula Scythe who's going to be denied through the twisty section of the racetrack. And so we'll go into lap number 8. Huki continues to lead now, after Formula Scythe managed to convert that pole, hold on to that lead into turn 1, hold on to that lead for the first 6 or so laps. Alexis Beast now getting back past Zruski, going to run a little bit wide there. Formula Scythe gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. And so you can see just how that big battle for the lead at the start of this race has really damaged both Formula Scythe and Huki as this race has continued, because they are going to continue to pick up warnings. Of course, Talked Phoenix got that penalty on the opening lap. Viperize, meanwhile, finds a way past Stratting. And of course, Ollie Jelly and Kendricks there just trying to hold on to this pack. That's a bit wide there from Viperize, though, who's going to, I think, let Stratting effectively back through. As Formula Jonah, 3 seconds for time limits. But again, very tight between these top 10. Huki holding on into 10 and 11, but that Mercedes continuing to close pretty clean from both drivers. But they'll run now down into turn number 12 as the Mercedes going to be close enough to have a go. No, he'll hold back for now. And of course, just to give a little bit of a peek into when the pit calls might be made as well, as Huki a little bit wide there. But I'd expect the pit phase for those medium tires to start around lap number 10 or so. Might be the earliest we see some of those medium compound runners start to consider diving in. Of course, if you're with a decent pack, you might consider coming in either earlier or later, depending on what you might want to do. If you want to try and extend that stint, stick with the driver with DRS, and have the tire life later in the race, might be very, very crucial. Gavicho closing on Formula Scythe, not able to find a move. Oh, yeah, all right. It's only lap 9, and this is taking a lot out of me already, but we'll continue. Gavicho and Formula Scythe, meanwhile, side by side. It's going to be the Williams, though, who has to back out. Going to look to get that move back done, goes to the grass, and that's a car with a check up in front of him. That's damage on Alexis Beast's car, as Gavicho went to the grass, and that's damage to Alexis Beast. That's a front wing end plate missing, as Gavicho tried to force a move to the inside, had to take to the grass, and Alexis Beast nowhere to go through that high-speed section. And the V-Carb now in a very dangerous position with damage, as he'll probably have to get that fixed. We'll see how well he can manage sticking with this pack ahead, and if he wants to try and just manage that for the remainder of this race. but there are so many sections where that front-end grip is absolutely crucial, and so it's going to come down to a lot of setup for if that V-carb can still be in contention for a really good result. Kendricks, meanwhile, dives into the pits from 10th, as he's had a really good opening stint. It's going to be hard tires being slapped on the Season 9 Champions machine until he'll get back underway. So solid pit stop there from him, and he'll have plenty of clean air. Try and get that undercut working, and we'll see where he can finish. Viperize, meanwhile, 3 seconds due to track limits. Stratting, I think has damage as well. It does look like Stratting has damage, at least from that brief camera angle. No, he does not. Apologies. It was just that specific look. That wasn't very great. Alexis Beast still looking very fighty here. Looking to get him moved on here on Zrusky. Gabicho at risk. Here comes Zrusky looking to the inside of the Williams. Under braking, he gets it done. Alexis Beast looking for that move as well. A little bit of traction loss there. But the front three starting to make a bit of a breakaway. And so now it's going to be Zrusky's job to try and chase and hunt them down. I don't know why I put emphasis on that, but I did. Stratting, meanwhile, is going to dive into the pits here on lap number 11. He's done with those medium compound tires. So it's the white-walled hards, which will absolutely last the rest of the race. Should get fairly worn regardless. But let's see where he comes out in relation to this pack. He's going to be close to this pack that's actually trying to chase down Sayao, and may actually be a spanner in that fight, able to slot just ahead of Dechal, but Stratton coming right out into a fight, and Dechal having to take evasive action. Gabicho now is going to drop into 7th in that run in turn 6. Viperize and I believe Alexis Beast making their way through. Huki, actually, I missed the lead change as well. Talked Phoenix briefly took the lead, but Huki getting DRS there. He'll get DRS on exit of 10 and 11 as well, and that could put Phoenix at risk of being passed again by Formula Safe, but that's not going to happen. Zrusky, maybe a mistake as well. Maybe some contacts. Alexis Beast jumps up into 4th. As that missing front wing end plate, seemingly a non-issue throughout large portions of this track, as he's still able to carry plenty of speed through each of these corners. And of course, that gap to the cars ahead is coming down. Alexis Beast, though, is going to dive into the pits. So the V-Carb is going to dive in, as will Viperize and Gabicho. Ali Jelly now up into 5th on track, as his race has gone very solid. But the leader is continuing to pull away here, now 4 seconds clear of Zrusky. As a big incident there, as the Ferrari with a bunch of wheel spin is Huki into the wall. It'll be a question there as if he received any damage. But it is going to be Phoenix now taking the lead. As it was a bit lucky there from Huki to not get any more significant damage that potentially could have taken him out of this race. And he still has to manage those hards for a good few more laps. Here comes Formula Saif looking to the inside. He'll take the lead briefly. Huki going to move up into 2nd. As the McLaren, the pole sitter, retakes the lead of the race. And of course, we'll have DRS and we'll have the chance to stay ahead. Stratting in a solid bit of clean air. Alexis Beast did get that front wing change, so he's dropped down behind Kendricks now, but he showed a lot of pace, so I'd expect him to catch up very quickly. Your leader, though, going to dive into the pits. Formula Saif going to try to get the undercut on those drivers that he is fighting for the win of Huki and Phoenix. We're both going to have DRS into turn number 1. Zrusky going to dive into the pits as well, so it's going to promote Ali Jelly up to 3rd on track for Ferrari. Speedy Gunner as well will continue to stay out. Let's see where he comes, runs into turn 1. You can see the McLaren ahead. You got a yellow flag in sector 3. That's for the Sauber of Masquerade. Speedy Gunner looking to make his way around the car that's just exited the pits. That's Formula Safe going to give him a little bit of a squeeze. Speedy going to look back around the outside. Now switches it back to the inside on the McLaren. Tries to get it done under the brakes. And there's contact between Speedy and Formula Safe. A little bit ambitious there maybe from Speedy, but Saif also not giving him any room. And now Speedy going to be at risk of dropping a spot. Docked Phoenix now going to retake the lead with DRS advantage, running down into 10 and 11. As once again, the Mercedes-Ferrari rivalry renewed. DRS going to activate for Phoenix, though. Hyuki potentially looking to get a move done. Going to think better of it, though, as he started to close there on the exit of turn number 11, but not able to get anything done. Stratting now, finding his way past Speedy Gunner. They'll make their way out of the penultimate corner, and it'll be Todd Phoenix leading us across the line to start lap number 13. Whew, my mouth is tired, and we're only at the halfway point. Do not make any jokes out of that. I know how Discord works. But yeah, again, Speedy Gunner just trying to, I think, manage his race at this point. Just try and keep as much speed as possible. Of course, did have that brief incident with Formula Scythe. Here comes Viperize looking down the inside. He'll get it done under braking into turn number 1. But up at the battle for the lead. Still, as Owen out of the race. Was that a pit lane retirement? I believe that is a pit lane retirement from Owen, so that should not see the safety car come out. He, of course, was in 18th, so that yellow flag in Sector 1 should not become anything. Hyuki has, though, retaken the lead. Of course, it will, again, get that double dose of DRS. So comfortably in the lead here is now the track back to completely green flag conditions. But lap 14, and it's the Ferrari holding on to the lead. Ollie Jelly, I think, just kind of sitting back there, pretty comfortable. Formula Scythe, of course, just trying to close that gap to Hyuki and Phoenix as much as possible. Ollie Jelly going to dive into the pits. And so he will slap on a set of medium compound tires. And so the first of Ferraris diving into the pits. And so it's a 15-second gap from Formula Scythe up ahead. Where will Ollie Jelly be released? You can see Alexis Beast running through, and Ollie Jelly coming out in P11. So a great showing from him. Of course, started from the back of the field and has climbed himself up into a very good potential point-scoring position, as now he can go and attack the legs of Alexis Beast and Kendricks. What that mouth do? Our owner, ladies and gentlemen. But Tox Phoenix takes the lead here into lap 15 as the Ferrari and Mercedes continue to go at it. Going to be hard braking once again here into turn number 12. But I think Phoenix and Hyuki just content to kind of work with each other here. Don't want to battle too much because they know that they're going to be losing a lot of time to Formula Scythe, to Stratting, to Viperize, as Kendricks gets past Speedy Gunner. Both drivers, though, continuing to opt to stay out as we start lap number 16. I expect they're going to dive into the pits very shortly here. Viperize finding his way past Gabicho. Yellow flag in Sector 1. That is for Masquerade, who has a puncture. So Masquerade has a puncture, surprisingly, so not sure how he got that. But I guess the good thing is he will continue to be ghosted. But yeah, that rear left is completely delaminated. And he is almost certainly out of this race. I don't know how he got that much wear on his tires. Perhaps a lot of contact with the wall. But yeah, he's out of this race. It'll be yellow flags there through turn 6. As I think he is now a lap down and effectively out. We'll see if he can get that car back underway, or if that will necessitate a virtual safety car. As yeah, you can see that Sauber just stricken there on the side of the racetrack, basically driving on only 2 tires. And yeah, just trying to get his way back through. Hyuki, meanwhile, going to retake the lead here. Lap number 16, again, just taking that DRS advantage and utilizing that to the best of his ability. The gap to Formula Scythe, though, down to 12 seconds. So I think if you're these leaders, you have to make the decision to dive into the pits before too much longer. And Phoenix gonna pull the trigger here. Of course, got to get it stopped down to 80 kph for that speed limit sign. Gonna swap on to the medium compounded tire. And where will Phoenix come out? Not a great getaway, though. Not gonna get away cleanly. So that'll cost him a second or two. So he'll hit the pit lane exit, drops to 4th, drops to 6th. And Zrusky and Kendricks coming up behind him. But Tox Phoenix still in a good spot there. as Ollie Jelly, new fast lap of the race, as he looks to chase down some extra points. Alexis Beast as well, back up into the top 10. But yeah, Talk Phoenix now in 6th and has the job of hunting down, what is that, about 8 seconds to Formula Syfe to try and take the win. And I'd imagine with Huki going to be looking to come into the pits before too much longer. LAF going to retire from the session, so potentially damage on his Aston Martin. The Sauber of Masquerade, meanwhile, still trying to make his way to the pits. I imagine the Ferrari is going to dive into the pits just behind him. And actually, yeah, and now the Ferrari actually having to manage him now, and that's going to cost Huki some time. And now 10 seconds for speeding in the pits. And so bad to worse from Huki as the back marker of Masquerade, who I think just would try to get that car back around to be able to retire in the pit lane, is going to cost him 10 seconds. And for Huki, that's got to be really frustrating, as just not the way that you want to have your race affected. He's going to come out right into the battle between Gavicho, for Gavicho as well, as he'll go side by side there. Good exit, but no DRS on the Ferrari, so he's going to be at risk from Talk Phoenix now, who will take advantage of that fight to make his way through. But 3 retirements so far in this one. And of course, Huki not in the greatest of spots, so now advantage to the likes of Stratting and Phoenix and Syfe. Go ahead and pull up the penalties as well. Phoenix actually up to 9 seconds of penalties, so he's not in a great spot either. So advantage really goes to either Syfe or Stratting. We'll see if the Dutchman has enough to close that 8/10 gap. But of course, with a slight tire disadvantage, it's certainly going to be a tall order. But still has plenty of time to just chip away one little bit at a time. And of course, he might have the advantage as well of Huki and Talk Phoenix catching up to him and potentially getting a tow there. Gabicho, I think, in a great position here as well. Here comes Zorowski Low looking for the move on the Williams driver. Going to look around the outside there into turn 1. Gabicho going to just tuck in behind, trying to make sure he loses as little time as possible, and he'll get back underway. Viprise and Phoenix now battling, as the Haas looking to hold on to his P4 on track. Of course, Gavicho was the initial leader of this pack. I think Viprise may have grabbed an extra position or two there. Debo, 3 seconds for track limits. Viprise, of course, working with a bit of a tire disadvantage there. Here comes the Mercedes, going to be looking around the outside potentially into turns 10 and 11. Can the Mercedes get it done? He will brave it around the outside there. Carries some good speed. And so it's Talk Phoenix back ahead of Viprise, but Huki picks up an extra 3 seconds for track limits. But it's Formula Syfe just in a position now to really run his own race. Also a decent battle brewing for 11th, which we'll jump to very quickly. So you got 4 cars in the mix for if somebody up ahead falls into a bit of misfortune. Straxor having to defend as Guardianite goes around the outside. Speedy Gunner looking to do the same. So that'll be 2 positions lost for the Williams. No, Huki had no other tires, tried to last mediums for as long as you could. Okay. Yeah, so just a bit of a mistake there from Masquerade. And of course, definitely not intentional there. That's an unfortunate incident. And again, I can respect just trying to make sure you retire in the pit lane, not cause a potential safety car. I don't think that's, again, I just think that's that's more a racing incident than anything. Even if it is rather unfortunate. But lap 20 of 29, and that gap to Formula Syfe still sits at around 3.7 seconds. And I think the important thing, if you are stratting, is you got cars, you got Huki's Ferrari I talked Phoenix's Mercedes bearing down on you. So what is the question here for Stratting? Because it likely will come back down, much like it did in real life, to a battle between a McLaren and a Red Bull for the victory here. Yuki picks up an extra point there for fastest lap potentially. Gabicho actually going to dive into the pits here, surprisingly. So perhaps Gabicho got some damage in that exchange with Yuki coming out of the pits. Stratting, though, got that Ferrari of Yuki behind him. He's got to remember, though, Yuki does have that time penalty. As, yeah, there may have been contact at some point in that fight because the likes of Viperize have fallen off quite a bit, though that might as well just be the new mediums. Here comes Yuki, looking what will become the inside as he run down into turn 10. He has the DRS advantage, he has the tire advantage, and he makes his way through. But I think the important thing, if you are Stratting, is, again, that Yuki is not clear of you because of penalties. And so you can be a little bit aggressive here. Try and stick with the Ferrari, get that DRS advantage to kind of try and counteract that little bit more tire wear from the car ahead, and you still have a shot at going and winning this race. You can see Yuki already bringing that gap down to about 3 seconds, and now Stratting going to get towed right along with him. You, of course, got talked Phoenix there, looking to put up a really good result. A little bit wide there from Yuki, as he looks to carry as much pace as possible. But yeah, again, Stratting in a very good spot here. I'm just gonna try to sit on board of this battle. I do need to actually grab a drink of water. So you probably hear that briefly. We'll stick with what is effectively this battle for P2. As they make their way here into the fast Sector 2. And of course, it's going to be this section of the racetrack where it's, apologies, I was not with that fight, where it's going to be Stratting's biggest advantage and biggest chance to go chasing after Formula Sci. Yellow flag in Sector 3. What is that for? That is for the McLaren of Sayao in Sector 3 there, I believe. Actually, no, that's a McLaren of Formula Sci. Formula Sci has gone round. Formula Scythe goes round at 10 and 11, and we have a new race leader in Yuki. But that gives Stratting a massive advantage here with about 6 or 7 laps to go. It's a big mistake there from the McLaren. Has now dropped him all the way into 7th. I saw the McLaren around there and couldn't tell who it was. But again, big mistake there from Scythe. Really easy to run that little bit too wide. And so now Stratting in an excellent position to win this race. Still plenty of racing laps left to run, though. So we're certainly far from over. But a big mistake there as I stepped away to get some water. I turned around to see yellow flags. And our leader has gone round. Williams there, he just Oscared. I don't think it was what Piastri did, because with Piastri, that mistake that he made was more in Sector 3 yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, if that's what you're referring to. And I guess another important thing was that was in very difficult changeable conditions. Not to say that turns 10 and 11 is easy to get right every time, especially as these tires continue to wear and continue to get older. Just that riding those curbs on the exit of turn 10 and 11, he did a Behrman, more so bottled it. Yeah, that is fair. But yeah, I think he saw that Yuki and Stratting, Stratting thanks to Yuki rather, was picking up so much pace behind him that he was absolutely trying to sense it and just did that little bit too much. Stratting runs wide though. He'll pick up a 3-second time penalty. So again, doesn't really put him at risk right now, as that's 19 seconds to Yuki. So Stratting still in a great position. So he's realistically got to hold with the drivers ahead for a few more laps, but he has seemingly started to lose DRS here. That gap coming up to 1.1 seconds, and he will lose DRS here. So we're not out of the woods yet if you are LSR Stratting. As yeah, ERS now potentially becoming an issue for the Red Bull, is having to burn maybe a little bit too much just to keep that gap close. What's the leader's gap to the whole of the field? That is a good question. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that now. So there is your gap to the leader. So as it stands right now, Huki would drop all the way down behind Ollie Jelly, at least on track. Viperize finds a way past Zrusky. Yeah, there is your gap to the leader, as well as current time penalties. We'll go ahead and, so again, keep that in mind. So it would be Isha on the brink of the points right now. Ollie Jelly would still be 9th, but Alexis Beast would move up a spot. Strakosaur 3 seconds due to time limits. If you're Alexis Beast, if you're Kendricks, you are in an incredible position right now, just having managed your race. Because Kendricks right now already looking for a top 5 after starting from, I believe it was 18th. So I believe you definitely got a solid argument there for driver of the day. But it'll be 4 laps to go next time we cross the line. As now I'm going to slowly walk away from my TV and come back before we hit 10 and 11. As you can see, Stratting looking to maybe keep Phoenix behind. He'll let him go through, though. As Stratting now racing the clock more than anything. He's got to make sure that the likes of Tox Phoenix stick within about 6 seconds from him. We will go back to that interval, just because that helps me keep track of the battles a little bit more. Zrusky up into 4th as the Red Bulls having a really good day here. As they look to potentially put a fight together. Again, Viperize still right there on the tail. A little bit of a strange wiggle there from Zrusky. But seemingly holding on to it okay. And it's another 3-second time penalty for Tox Phoenix. So again, that just gives Stratting that extra little bit of advantage. Viperize finding his way up into 4th into turn number 3. Again, 4 laps to go. So he's got to find about 3 seconds or maybe try and pressure Zrusky into some additional mistakes. Try and make that battle for the next step off the podium a little bit closer. And Formula Scythe, of course, is there in the background. He's up into 6th. Guardian, 3-second time penalty for track limits. As Gavicho finds his way past him. But Huki now losing time to Phoenix. So it'll be a question of, at this point, who crosses the line first. Big slide there from Huki trying to get on the power. But those mediums potentially starting to go off. Yellow flags popping up in Sector 1. That's in that battle for 10th. Not sure who that was for, though. Or, sorry, the battle for 12th. Battle for 10th is further up the road. But Huki now holding on. And again, Phoenix just closing up. And Stratting just sticking with them. 3 laps to go now. And this is looking to, as well, end up as a potential 1-2 for Red Bull here in the opening round. Formula Scythe still in a decent position to bring home some good points. He's close to within 3 seconds of Viperize now. And just, so he wouldn't pass the Red Bulls, but he might get that second step on the podium, depending on how much he can pull away from Kendricks. So again, shaping up to finish, probably about 5th or better, potentially even 4th, which would be a great result from him. Alexis Beast running 8th, of course, has managed to get back up into the points after receiving damage in the opening stint. As Phoenix, once again, closing on Huki, not able to get the move done, though. And again, if you're Huki or Phoenix, at this point, it's just how can you maximize your pace? How can you maximize that finishing position? Huki, of course, getting 10 seconds of those time penalties due to speeding in the pit lane, just with a bit of an unfortunate incident there where Masquerade got a puncture and was trying to make his way back around to the pits and retire, and ended up pitting just in front of the Ferrari, who tried to get around him, wanted to get back on the power, lose as little time as possible, trying to get to that pit lane limit line, and then ended up picking up that extra time, 10-second time penalty. 2 laps to go, though, as we continue to blast around Albert Park. Zrusky and Viperize continue to battle. Of course, we can't tell exactly how many warnings the Red Bull driver has, but he'll continue to look to keep Viperize at bay. That may have been a track limits warning there, though, so we'll see how close Zrusky is to picking up that 3-second time penalty by the end of this race. Viperize, though, going to sweep around the outside and jump up into 4th. As that's the Mercedes in the wall. Talked Phoenix now in the wall. As that's a massive misfortune for him, as he's going to, I think, just try to retire at this point. His front wing is gone, and he's going to retire from this race. So Talked Phoenix, I think potentially a mistake there through turn 11, much like we saw from Formula Seif, means the Mercedes out of the race, so no points from him. Will move into the final lap. Did that potentially have an incident with Stratting? I'm not sure, but Stratting potentially having to check up there. And so that's going to boost everybody up that little bit further. But missed what happened there, because it looked like Talked Phoenix, Huki, and Stratting willing to work together, even if it meant Stratting, at the end of the day, coming out with the win. But now it's the Mercedes out. And of course, the Ferrari, with loads of time penalties, will go back to that leader gap here on the final lap. But certainly it's been an eventful one. Of course, had that opening virtual safety car at the beginning of this race. But then it's been close and pretty chaotic racing throughout. 10-11, Stratting has managed it, as has Huki up ahead. Cars behind battling as Viperize, I think, looking to try and find any way past Zrusky, trying to put some pressure on him into the final sector. But we saw this man have numerous misfortunes in Group 2 last season. Pole sitter in numerous races, so picking up those extra points from there. He wasn't on pole this time, but he'll make his way through the final corner, and in round 1, it'll be Stratting coming to the line, winning in Australia. The Dutchman in the Red Bull this time takes the win in Australia. It's Zrusky who's going to come across the line in second, making it a Red Bull 1-2. Formula Seif, after that mistake, manages to claw back to a P3. Viperize with a very solid showing there in fourth. The reigning Group 2 champion of Kendricks with a stellar drive to finish P5. Huki, after those penalties, going to end up dropping down into 6th. Alexis Beast in his Group 2 return finishes 7th. Ollie Jelly, another driver with a great drive. He started at the back of the field and has come back to finish 8th. And then Gabicho and Guardian Knight will round out your top 10. But Stratting taking victory here. And again, nothing you can say against his drive. Managed it perfectly. Had loads of pace. Got to see, kept with that lead pack, which was the important thing at the start of this race. And most importantly, didn't make mistakes. And it's Stratting on top. And with just enough fuel as well. I think he was very low on fuel there. Speedy Gunner somehow picking up driver of the day. I thought for sure it'd be Kendricks. But Speedy potentially getting that because of having to make some of those extra stops. But a Red Bull 1-2 in the opening round. And certainly should be a good one for the rest of the season. But yeah, Stratting taking the win. Starts 7th, finishes 1st, so we'll get those 25 points. Zrusky comes in 2nd. From the side, we'll pick up those 3 extra points for pole, so he'll be tied with Zrusky. Then it was Viperize, Kendricks, Huki picking up 2 points for starting 2nd, as well as that extra point for fastest lap. Of course, Alexis, 10th to 7th. Ollie Jelly, 20th to 8th. So great drives all around. Yeah, Speedy Gunner. Yeah, I'm not sure how Speedy Gunner got driver of the day there. I'll be completely honest, but he got it somehow. Yeah, should be a good one. Of course, round 2 will be next weekend. That will be Silverstone. So another track which should provide some very fun racing. So until next time, congratulations, of course, to Stratting, Zrusky, and Seif. And until next time, we will see you later. Definitely stay tuned for some Group 3 action in just under an hour's time. It should be a good one there as well. And we'll see you later.